Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothe the grass which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. All right. And what I want to get into this morning, dealing with the Trump Psyop, all right, in full effect. Okay, as we know, a Psyop, is a psychological operation, used by the military. All right, it's pretty much a mind control, all right, mechanism that they use, okay, in war, okay, to control, narratives, all right, to justify particular, means of actions, okay, so forth and so on. And we're seeing a major psyop, being ran on the American people, which, there's been a psyop on the American people for decades, okay, and they just constantly increase more and more, okay, psyop to cause division, psyops to get people to trust, and deception, psyops to, get people to bag the wickedness of America. And what we're seeing now through Trump, they're what we're seeing what's happening with Trump. Trump has been put in place, as this hero, and the elites can pull off, so much of their New World Order agenda off the back of Trump. Like Trump is a major springboard for this New World Order. His cabinet is full of, the technocrats, okay, full of Zionists, all right, and they're all pushing toward this New World Order. You see, when you read this in the book of Mark 4:22, and I got a video I want to get into, it's going to kind of expound on, what we've been saying, for the last few months in the spirit. This is Mark 4:22 said, "For there is nothing hid which shall not be manifested, neither was anything kept secret, but that it should come abroad." Okay. So there's nothing that these devils, have been doing in the shadows that the spirit wasn't going to bring to the forefront. Okay. And people are still caught up, on this Republican Democrat kick. Is way beyond that now. Okay. And I got another video. It's gonna be probably pretty long, going to all wars or bank of wars, and it breaks down, the bankers, their it goes into the beginning of the bankers infiltrating the American, all right, government, the politics, and it goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War, man. All right, 17, all right, because you had America win their independence in 1776, all right, July. Well, guess what? That same year, May 1st, okay, what did you have? 1776, May 1st, the Illuminati, all right, uh, uh, with Adam Wassenhaupt, which he was a Teamanite, a German, but he was commissioned by the elites, the Rothschilds, to infiltrate, government, education, all right, media, okay, the different colleges, the different news and entertainment, and all right, all of the high sectors of society, the Illuminati began to infiltrate, going back to the 1776. Okay, and America was a major target. Okay, for Illuminati doctrine, the enlightened doctrine. Okay, of the left hand side. Okay, so this relationship with, all right, the elite bankers, and what they call a shadow government, goes back to America's conception, even in 1776. Lord will we'll get into the video one of these days. I know it's gonna take a little time, so we'll have to marathon it out. But so let's go to this video, and then we'll get some more precepts off of that. But so you go here to what we get. Okay, yeah. So this guy here, pretty good. I've been watching him a little more lately. All right. So this is on the Jimmy Dore show. Now they're going to go into, the anti-ice riots, which is, the talk of the town. It says anti-ice riots are a deep state psyop. Okay, a deep state psyop, man. Okay, and Trump, all right, is a major figure. His character allows elites to do so much, to forward this new world order. Okay, and they pushing. Okay, they've made a lot of progress in these past few months, under the Trump presidency. So let's let this play. Fair use, fair use. I'm not making any monetary gains or profits, just for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. So let's play this. I'm start about right here, and these last 15 minutes got some pretty interesting points. I'm gonna let it play.
Why did Trump keep Doge from going to the Pentagon? Why did Trump explode the Pentagon budget and the debt instead of cutting it like he promised? It's become Trump. It's because Trump is not actually an opponent of the deep state, but he is in bed with them, which is why he was allowed to become president in the first place. Yeah, those are some truth bombs right there.
Well, I take you're definitely you're not making it back into the country now.
Man, that's
better
it.
find a place over there.
I don't know if you really wanted to sit in on this segment, Jimmy. So here's Alex Karp saying the kind of thing that I promise you, if Reid Hoffman said it, MAGA would be all over this.
And we were asked if we were willing to supply our product philanthropically, basically for free. And I was very in favor of this because our primary mission is, in fact, to set a global standard for the world for behavior.
So there was a guy from Palantir, all right, which we know Palantir is an AI company. They merge, AI with military, with surveillance. Okay. And Palantir, is one of the major sponsors of Trump's campaign. Okay, with this guy Peter Thiel, and all these men are basically front men for, all right, these CIA, all right, corporations. You know, so Palantir is ultimately a CIA corporation, but they give it a CEO and make it private. Okay, so they can don't have the restrictions that governments have. Okay, so this guy from Palantir said that the goal is to modify the world's behavior. Okay, to modify the world's behavior. Let's look at. Let me see if it give us something. Going to uh, behavior modification. All right, and they do this on so many levels. You know, from how niggas act, you know, to how, you know, the everyday American thinks, and uh, so forth and so on. Okay, but you got people, all right, all right, being hostile over an election. You know, I remember, and I remember coming up all the elections we had. It was never that hostile. You know, you had your vote. You know, you did your vote. They chose a new president. And everybody went on with their day. But now an election, okay, causes a riot. You know, you have a election, and it's a whole riot. You know, people them got divorce, you know, fights, you know, riots, and, you know, over an election. You know, well, back in the day, you had your election. All right, you go across the street, vote at the, you know, the church or the school or whatever, and that was it. You know, nobody even cared. You know, nobody even asked who you vote for. You know, it just vote. Okay, but now, all right, they pull so many psyops that, you know, people damn near shake you down, ask you who you voted for, and trying to figure out like how you moving and to see who you voted for, and it's just people are goddamn crazy, man, over something that doesn't matter, which is their vote. Now you go to behavior modification is a psychological approach that aims to change unwanted behaviors by using techniques like positive or negative reinforcement or punishment, going back to that carrot and stick. Okay, so they've been able to change. All right, and that's why they allow certain people to be punished. You know, when they say particular things like council culture, where it was a way to make you censor yourself. Okay, this whole council culture, you know, you have to be careful what you say, how you move. Well, it was a behavior modification that made you censor yourself. Okay, the strikes that, you know, we get on YouTube to where we have to you know, talk in code. Well, let's all go back to behavior modification, man. Okay, it says behavior modification is a psychological approach that aims to change unwanted behaviors by using technique like positive or negative reinforcement or punishment. Okay, so you had, you know, even and you see like in movies and media, okay, like the latest with this guy Tyler Perry, you know, the getting people to feel sorry, you know, for the nigga woman and her wickedness, no accountability. Like those movies and songs push behavior modification. Okay, these movies where, you know, the villain is romanticized, and, you know, people are emotionally attached to certain villains in these movies. Well, it makes you, all right, accept, all right, that behavior is normal in your day to day. If you can accept it in the movie, you will accept it in your day to day. Okay, and these devils know this, man. So they use this behavior modification in so many different ways. Okay, and we're seeing the major behavior modification with the White House, man. It said it focuses on changes observable behaviors rather than underlying thoughts or feelings. This approach is often used in therapy, education, and even personal life to encourage desired behaviors and discourage undesirable ones. Okay, what you can speak against, what you can't speak against. You know, misinformation. They call it, you know, medical misinformation, this and that. You know, so they, you know, you can't speak against, you know, what they call anti-sim. Okay, and this is the behavior modification. Okay, at its finest, man. What these devils, all right, are doing real time. Okay, so let's go back to the video. Let it play some more.
Set a global standard for the world for behavior. So yeah, to Jimmy's point, the reason that they brought in Donald Trump was because Harris was never going to be able to sell the New World Order. She was never going to be able to sell it. They saw that. Listen, the smoking gun, no pun intended to me, is the assassination thing. This is a guy who has made a point of going after every law firm that ever looked at him funny since he won the election. And he didn't turn the place upside down as soon as he got in to get to the bottom of this assassination. Look how obscured and erased the details of this assassination have become. Who has tried to kill a president whose name you don't know? David Hinckley. I still right off the top of my head. Right? Do you know this guy's name? We're in this space. Jimmy, do you know this guy's name? Who tried to shoot Trump?
I do not know that.
Right. How is that not constantly being drilled at every assassination attempt I've ever seen? The person's name was front page every day.
Yeah. His last name is Crooks because I looked it up. I forget his first name though. I looked it up recently because that is a point that you made. But yeah, no, it is. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that is definitely a tell.
Right. And then you've got Pam Bondi saying we've got thousands of tapes, and you got Kash Patel saying we don't have tapes. These are not the tapes you're looking for. It tries to pull a Jedi mind trick there with Rogan. Yeah, man, it's becoming increasingly obvious that Trump was allowed to ascend to the presidency because look, they got this thing wired, man. If they can't get it one way, they'll get it another way. And now I do believe there is a lot of the MAGA movement who do see through this, and you are seeing a lot of them speak out on it. The ones who don't speak out on it, that's going to tell you who the people getting paid are. And a lot of them are getting paid. A lot of it is just a business at this point.
But and here's the other thing, though. Even with regard to I think there are a considerable amount of Trump supporters or at least Trump voters who are hip to this. That's why you're seeing all this conversation around Palantir from guys like Ian Carroll and the like. Yep. From an electoral standpoint, though, what the hell are they going to do about it? I mean, this is the vice grip that they have. Like, what are you going to do? You can't vote for the Democrats, right?
Right.
Like. In the electoral system, the only guy who could have really done anything about this was Eugene Debs, and he had to run from prison, right? Like people who are really going to be a threat don't get close. If you get close, it's because they can get to you.
They got to you. Exactly.
That's not to say you don't engage at all, but in terms of the electoral thing, it's just, I mean, if this doesn't tell you what a dead end that is, I don't know what does.
Yeah, and that is why we are post-duopoly. So Patriot Voice here sums it up. This is alarming for several reasons. Trump just made a deal with him and allowed his company to weave intricately into the fabric of the whole federal government, creating a merged massive database of all our personal sensitive data for the first time in history. This is significant because, yes, the government has always had our data by way of the NSA, but it's never been merged together across all agencies with the help of a third-party corporation like Palantir, which acts more like an intel agency than a company. They did this using a back door through Doge, and Elon Musk facilitated the process. That was his true role. Remember, he was going to cut $2 trillion. What'd you end up with? $9 billion? They're proposing $9 billion
in a building. That's not going to pass. They're going to have to go and monkey with that even more.
Yeah, it was never about any saving the government. That was his true role. Palantir and Elon go way back, and recently XAI has partnered with Palantir along with BlackRock. Deep state. In fact, Palantir is quite literally funded by the CIA through In-Q-Tel, which is the CIA's venture capital arm. In a nutshell, Trump just employed a proxy of the CIA to create the largest surveillance police state in American history.
You see, they're setting all this up. okay, under, this Trump wave of, and then they do this whole thing with the tariffs, and they allow Trump to get these so-called victories, you know, trade war. So they stage these things, and people are so, like, damn, my I can't afford, this and that. Small businesses catching hell, certain, truck drivers, catching hell. So while people are caught up on that, this is what's being set up. Okay, a surveillance state. You see, Elon Musk, and this guy Peter Thiel, part of what you call the PayPal mafia. When you go into that, you have this thing called the PayPal mafia with these certain billionaires that, that the PayPal sprung them into, orbit. Okay, what you have, uh, like I said, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, they were the starters of that. Okay, and we know that this Psyop is going to be what, a way of what, to buy and sell, to do transactions. Okay, you remember the guy from Cash Out? I believe he was deleted. I guess he wasn't playing ball, so he got deleted. Okay, so they got this thing locked, stock and barrel. Okay, and this is why Trump is here. All right, he's at the MMA fights, you know, saying crazy wild things, and promising peace, and talking to Putin, and you know all these, he's all over the place, and he just meant to be a great distraction while they roll this out, man. Okay, they want to keep you arguing about Trump, niggas going back and forth over Trump, and you know first they make him look like he don't know what he's doing, then he comes and saves the day, and it's just a psyops, keep you distracted while they roll this thing out. Okay, see, to give us something. Um, so let's go here with the PayPal mafia, just to show. All right, and all these guys, all right, have Trump in their back pocket. Okay, and the elites have all of them in their pocket. So it says the PayPal mafia is a term referring to a group of individuals who were former employees or founders of PayPal, a company that later became part of eBay. These individuals have gone on to establish successful technology companies. Okay, technology companies including LinkedIn, all right, Palantir Technology, SpaceX, Affirm, Slide, Kaviv, YouTube, okay, Yep, and Yammer. Some notable members include Peter Thiel, who co-founded PayPal and is sometimes called the Don of the PayPal mafia, all right, and Elon Musk. Okay, so this is all one big club. Okay, you have the elite, the banking families, the Rothschilds, and then you have these underlings that we see, all right, the super rich. Okay, and they're all doing the bidding for the bankers, pushing toward this one world government, one world order. Okay, it has nothing to do with tariff and trade wars with China. It's all a script. Okay, it has nothing to do with Doge, trying to make the government more efficient. No, Doge is hacking government and bringing in AI, because it's AI that's determining whether this department is efficient or not. You know, they're just speaking to people that have witnessed Doge coming in. They say they just come in, these tech guys come in and start hooking up devices to the computer. Okay, and when the computer, the AI give it output, and if the output ain't reading what it wants, out of here. All right, fired. All right, all you niggas get out of here, scram. Okay. They let this play some more.
Did you know that Alex Karp also bragged about stopping the rise of the far right in Europe? Why would Trump, who is supposed to be a right-wing populist, allow such intentional subversion by a self-professed progressive like Alex Karp to infiltrate our government? They want to set a standard for behavior because that is the standard upon which the coming social credit system will be measured, and that will tie directly into our data profile, financial, medical, personal, including our usage of carbon, which will be taxed.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Everything we do will be monitored by smart devices, and that information will factor into our social credit score, which will dictate the privileges we are allowed to have or not. That is the nightmare version that these psychopaths have for our future, and it is being enabled. Through the Internet of Bodies, they will even know our thoughts, and any dissent or opposition will be swiftly punished. They are even able to create pre-crime, thought crime scenarios to set us up for crimes we never committed using advanced AI. Sound familiar? This all plays into the depopulation agenda as well, because we are seen as the carbon. We are the carbon they want to reduce. Imagine if the movies Terminator and Minority Report became a reality, and that is what we're up against. If you can't already...
He says they keep going into carbon. That makes sense. All right, that the people are the carbon. Niggas, it's too many niggas breathing on Earth. Okay, that's the problem. All right, not how the Earth is being ran and wickedness, resources being depleted. All right, the Earth is being polluted. All right, constant war, which war use up. All right, resources rapidly, so it's constant war. Okay, that's not the problem. The problem is you people breathing. Okay, so you got the depopulation agenda. Okay, and like he said, the Internet of Bodies. Okay, and what's going to be, what's the end game of the Internet of Bodies is, all right, device going in you. Okay, that's the end goal, is putting these devices in people. All right, so let's let it play.
See it and are still having a hard time understanding. Palantir is literally the deepest part of the deep state, and Trump is rolling out the red carpet for them to usher in what will certainly be the beast system, a cashless society in which you will be tracked and monitored every second of every day, and your behavior will dictate how you get to live in society. This is absolutely the Great Reset and Build Back Better, spelled with a 666, repackaged MAGA style. The biggest rug pull in history.
Yeah, and you see. So yeah, and you see it. They're telling you what is certainly a beast system. See, you can't get around it. You see, you can't get around the prophecy, man. And as these people, you have these truthers that follow this thing. The only thing that makes sense is comparing this to what this beast system that spoke about in the Bible. All right, and the number of the beast, which is 666, and it's all over. All right, there are different agendas. Build back better. All right, the big beautiful bill. Those B's are nothing. Those lowercase B's are sixes, man. Okay, but they, like you said, they repackage it on the MAGA, make America great again. So they let Trump do particular things. And, oh, he's saving so much money. Nigga, that don't have nothing to do with you. People act like, well, when they say, okay, America just saved this much money, Trump just did this, and this much money is coming back to America, they got to pay us. Nigga, you don't get no checks for what Trump and these niggas are doing. You talking about some we save. You didn't save a goddamn thing. Your bills stay the same, your pay stay the same. America hasn't got a real wage, all right, raise, okay, since 1978. Okay, America stopped getting raises in 1978. Inflation, all right, far surpasses those cost of living raises that people get. Those 2 or 3% cost of living. Okay, so this whole thing of we, Trump is saving us money. Trump not saving you a goddamn thing. Okay, all these deals that's being made, these rare earth mineral deals, and Trump got us a rare earth mineral deal. You don't know what a rare earth mineral is, what it's for. Okay, the rare earth is used mainly for military equipment. Okay, that doesn't benefit you niggas at all. Okay, they goes farther into this man's military, which is the highest. All right, which has the highest budget. Okay, of the government. All right, $800 billion plus. Okay, so you people are so caught up. Okay, in these news reports. Then they just make it seem like Trump is just out here killing it. Okay, like we winning. No. All right, this is what the play is for real. Okay, this system, this cashless society, this beast system. Okay,
and your behavior will dictate how you get to live in society. This is absolutely the Great Reset and Build Back Better, spelled with a 666, right? Repackaged MAGA style, the biggest rug pull in history. Yeah, that was a little long, but he pulled all the threads together. Obviously, some Book of Revelations overtones there. But overall, his take is one we've touched on a lot on our show and over here. I have long been saying they're trying to kill us. That is part of why they want to get rid of healthcare. What do they want us to have healthcare for? They don't need us anymore. The AI is coming in. The AI now, it's not just blue collar work that they can automate. Now they can automate the white collar work. A large, restive, unemployed population is dangerous to them. It is better to kill everybody off with lack of health care than the alternative, which you're seeing them set up that option too. It's to come and Tiananmen Square everybody, right? They're gonna come and they're gonna confront protesters and they're gonna gun them down in the streets. Hey, that could happen in Los Angeles before all of this is over. And the faction that is most likely to resist is MAGA. That's why they had to put in Trump. They couldn't have done this under Harris. If Alex Karp said that as part of and he was connected to Kamala Harris, oh my God, man, they'd be storming city halls all around the country. County seats of government would be getting protests outside. This is happening under Trump. Yeah, get those immigrants out of the country. This is exactly what I voted for. Yeah, it is what you voted for, and you're not going to get shit out of it. Whenever we bring this up, people bring it to, wow, you think that doesn't suppress wages? Listen, I've said this many times. I experienced it. I used to drive a horse and carriage. You don't have to make the argument to me.
And he made the point, that they couldn't have did this on the Kamala, because if it was Kamala, it'd just be, dumb shit going on, ratchet shit, gorilla be at the White House, okay, niggas would be, juking, in the White House lawn, okay, it just be, degeneracy, okay, they push that agenda on the Biden, they don't need that anymore, now they need to go full throttle, seeing Trump, okay, they can pull these things off, they couldn't have pulled these things off with Kamala, man, okay, the circus was for 4 years, okay, on the Biden, now, all right, they're back to the business, okay, to really push this thing. So, let's play a little more and get a couple precepts.
That having illegal immigrants come into a business can suppress wages for working people. I come from a working class background. I saw construction go from a very good job to a pretty low paying job. My best friend was a general contractor. After a while, I couldn't get enough money for it to even be worth it for him to do the jobs. Yeah, man, that's true. But they are not going after these immigrants in order to improve your conditions. If they were, they wouldn't be doing everything else that they're doing, like cutting Pell Grants. They wouldn't be giving themselves an enormous tax cut. They wouldn't be trying to cut Medicaid if they actually cared about the working class. If they were actually increasing healthcare for working class people, if they were putting money into setting up training centers for people to get better jobs, if they were increasing financial aid for people to get an education, and they were doing this, you might say they're doing this very badly, but
yeah, that's pretty much the point on it, But let's get some more precepts, okay? Because when you go here to Ezekiel 28:1, all right, it said the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, okay? And we can equate this, to Esau today, beginning with these elites, okay? Because you go into the history, the prince of Tyrus, Tyrus was a wealthy trade port, okay, over in the Mediterranean, all right, and they was the way Tyrus was set up, it was hard, to invade them, because they had water, okay, around them, just like America, it has water around them, and you gotta see these things in the spirit, Of course, there was an actual Prince of Tyrus, and you can go into the character, but then in the spirit, all right, is this not speaking today? Okay, when you see how the devil is moving in pride, all right, so thus said the Lord of power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am the Most High. I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, not the Most High, though thou set thine heart or thy mind is the heart of the Most High. And this is what this devil is on, man. Okay, this man's mind is set that he's going to be the Most High. And he said in his mind, he has the technology to do it. Okay, it's not about money. They have the resources. Everything flows to them. Now it's about taking power to another level. Okay, they want to take control to another level. You see, they want to depopulate a lot and control the rest, man. Okay, and we're seeing the build up to that. So this whole thing with the riots and people being shot with rubber bullets. Okay, well they're setting the tone, all right, for how they finna come down. Okay, they setting the tone because they're at the point that they want to establish this thing, and under Trump, they have everything in place to establish this thing, man. All these different tech guys, all right, are right here in this same circle, okay, in the highest offices of government, okay, to bring these things to pass. And then, like I say, the Build Back Better, not the bill, the big beautiful bill, that's going to eliminate, okay, states, okay, authority over AI, okay. JD Vance, he's a big, component of AI. He went to the EU, cursed them out about having restrictions on AI, okay. Because this man wants to set up a system, a digital system of control, of tracking, monitoring, okay, being able to counsel you, cut you off, okay, programmable money. Ain't gonna be no savings account, no, okay. So this devil, he's setting his mind as the mind of the Most High, all right, and we're seeing nothing but psyops being ran, to get to that point, okay. Let's go here, okay. This is devil's, intentions in the earth. When you go to Job, what's that? Is it 21? There's a couple more. It's the book of Job, chapter 21, in verse I started at 14. Okay, because this new world order is about running the earth. See, they don't want any remembrance of the Most High in the earth. That's why this whole concept of the true Israelites is a thorn to their agenda. Okay, because we carry a message that's against everything the devil is doing. Okay, and our message condemns this devil. Okay, it says, therefore they say unto the Most High, depart from us. And going back to behavior modification, they've been modifying people's behavior to be very anti-Messiah. That's why it's so easy for folks to come against the Bible now. People to come against the Bible, to disregard what the Bible says and, do their own thing, do as thou wilt. That's under the behavior modification of Esau, because that's how he moves. Okay? Seeing that thou hatest instructions, as the scriptures say, now everyone hates instructions of the scriptures. Okay, it says, therefore they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? Okay, and this is how, all right, this devil wants everybody to operate. With this mindset, don't serve the Most High, serve me, serve my technology. It's better. I'm gonna liberate you from the tyrannical, all right, God in the heavens. I'm gonna liberate you from him. You can be a God. Let me merge you with my technology. Serve me. It's better. Okay, the same game he came to Eve with, man. Okay, it said, "Lo, their good is not in their hand. The counsel of the wicked is far from me." Okay, so what these devils are counseling on, because we're seeing what they've been counseling in the back room. Now it's coming. Now they're executing. Okay, now they're coming out with it. You see, the things that they've been counseling in secret, now they're on the forefront. Okay, and it's far from the Most High. The Most High, look, this is not okay how the Most High wants the earth to be ran. Okay, and that's why heavy judgment is getting ready to come down. All right, verse Job 21:17 said, how often is the candle of the wicked put out? Okay, how many times does the Lord have to break up? Even going back to the Tower of Babel. This is what Nimrod was on. He went into Nimrod. He was going into a rebellion, man. That nigga was a wicked, rebellious nigga, man, a Cushite. Okay, and he was all about rebellion against the Most High. Okay, and he was confounded. The Greeks, the Romans, they tried to do a few of these heathens, man. Okay, have tried to run the earth in their image. The Syrians, all these heathens, they were getting in power and try to run the earth in their image. Egypt. Okay, the Pharaoh, that he likened himself to a god. You see, and that's why America is compared to all these previous dynasties. All right, they have tried this, man. So the Lord's how often is a candle of the wicked put out, man. It's often. Okay, and America is going to be the latest example of it. How often cometh their destruction upon them, the Most High distributed sorrows in his anger. They are as stubble before the wind, as chaff that the storm carried away, man. That's the missiles and the chariots, man. All right, it's going to break all this shit up, man. Okay, everything. Okay, everything that the devil is trying to pull off, missiles are going to break it up. Okay, so yeah, man, I think that's the point. And I'm gonna be following. I gotta watch some things today, dealing with this whole thing with Iran. Small has supposedly did a strike on Iran. We will see. I don't never want to respond to information from Western media. So I wait till some more reliable resources, some more reliable sources come. With certain facts. Put something together. But just a little snippet. America and Iran was supposed to have talk Sunday about a new nuclear deal, which would allow Iran to keep their nuclear program, all right, but only run it with a certain level of uranium. But the small hats, they don't want Iran to have nuclear facilities at all. They just want to destroy them. Okay, so this strike from Israel and the timing of it was right before, Iran and America was supposedly gonna cut a deal that was gonna leave Iran's nuclear facilities intact. Okay, but the small hats, they don't want a deal. Okay, they want war. They want America to go to war. Okay, so they're over there being impulsive. We'll get the facts. Because they exaggerated. Niggas act like they, you know, shot the block up. Niggas ain't did nothing. You know what I'm saying? But so we'll see when that information come out. But that's the storyline going on with that. So Lord will, I can kind of see and catch up with what's going on, allow some good sources to come out. But yeah, man, we're gonna stay tapped into prophecy, man. You know, because this is what it's about. All right. The Lord, you know, walking this place down through prophecy, man. Okay, Esau in the field. Okay, so Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you sisters edified to the next time I say shalom. Come on, Yashala, Abba, soon, shalom.